Hello everyone, my name is Kaitlyn Poschner and I am a proud member of the WRP community. And today I have the honor of reading you one of my very favorite childhood stories. Today I will be reading Beauty and the Beast. In a faraway country lived a rich merchant with his 3 lovely daughters, Bliss, Blossom, and Beauty. They lived comfortably in a large house with many servants. One day, however, the merchant lost all his ships to the storms at sea. The family could no longer afford its fine house or servants, so the merchant and his daughters moved to a small cottage. At first, Bliss and Blossom were unhappy. They complained about the luxuries they had lost and the work they now had to do. But Beauty said, crying, "will not make things better. We must learn to be happy here." She worked every day, cleaning, cooking, and gardening, and she helped her sisters learn to enjoy their new life. The merchant was proud of all 3 girls, but especially Beauty. So right in this picture, you can see that Beauty is working in her garden and her sisters Bliss and Blossom are helping out with the chores while their father, the merchant, cuts wood. They seem happy in their new life. One day, the merchant heard that a ship he owned had returned safely, and he prepared for the long journey to the port. Each daughter wished him a safe journey, and the merchant promised to bring back gifts. Bliss and Blossom wanted ball gowns and fine jewelry. "What would you like, Beauty?" the merchant asked. "A rose," said Beauty. "Just a lovely rose." When the merchant reached the port, he learned that his cargo of fine silk had been ruined by sea waters leaking into the ship. He was just as poor as before. So in this picture, you can see the merchant is preparing to leave for his long journey back to port. Bliss and Blossom are sitting, and Beauty asks for a single red rose. The merchant rode sadly home, passing through a part of the woods that he had never traveled before. As night fell, he began to hear soft rustling sounds behind him, and the eerie howls in the distance. Suddenly, a raging storm blew up, and he became lost in a deep swirling mist of snow. The merchant pressed bravely on, but he soon realized that he would have to stop for the night. In the distance, he saw a yellow light that seemed to cut through the blizzard. He struggled towards it, hoping that he would find a small village or a tiny hut where he could sit out the storm. He stepped into a clearing and came upon the most magnificent palace he had ever seen. So in this picture, we can see the merchant bravely trying to make it through the storm, and you can see the eyes of the howling wolves right in the background. The merchant tied his horse to the gate and went inside. He could not find the owner of the castle, but he did discover an inviting fire, a wonderful meal, and a soft, warm bed. The next morning, the merchant explored the palace grounds. Even though it was winter, the garden was filled with colorful flowers of all kinds. He came upon a lovely rose bush, and remembering Beauty's request, decided to pick one for her. As he broke the stem of the flower, the air was filled with a terrible roar, and a huge beast appeared as if from nowhere. "Thief! Robber!" the beast bellowed. "I offer you food and shelter, and you stole from me. For this, I must put you in the dungeon." So here you can see the beast springing out of nowhere, scaring the merchant for taking the rose that he was meant to give to Beauty. The merchant begged the Beast to let him take the rose to Beauty and see his daughters one last time. Touched by the man's love for his family, the Beast gave him a magic ring to take him from the castle to his home, and the merchant promised to return and accept his punishment. He arrived home and told his daughters what had happened. "Must you go, father?" asked Bliss. "We will miss you so." "It is only a beast," protested Blossom. "Do you have to keep a promise to such a creature?" "I gave my word," said the merchant. Beauty said nothing, but as soon as they all were asleep, she took the magic ring and used it to carry her to the castle of the Beast, knowing that her father could not follow her. So here you can see, in the middle of the night, Beauty takes the magic ring and is going to be transported to the castle. Beauty told the Beast that she wanted to take her father's place. When he plucked the rose, he was only doing what I had asked, she explained. I should be the one to stay here with you. Again, the Beast was moved, and he agreed. You will not stay as a prisoner, but as my guest. The Beast worked hard to make Beauty happy. He saw that she had beautiful clothes, delicious meals, and fresh flowers from the garden. Every evening they would dine together and spend many hours talking. The Beast soon fell in love with Beauty. He often thought of telling her, but he was ashamed of his frightful appearance, and so he never spoke of his feelings. In this beautiful picture, you can see Beauty and the Beast having a wonderful dinner full of wonderful things. And you can even see the little squirrel in the background. They truly seem happy together. In time, Beauty came to care for the Beast very much. She admired the pride he took in his garden, and she loved the gentle way he tended to the animals on the palace grounds. But she also missed her father and sisters, and one day she asked if she might visit them. "Very well," said the Beast, giving her the magic ring. "But I can let you go for only 10 days. At the end of the 10th day, you must return." Beauty went home, and her family was overjoyed to see her. When the time came for her to return to the Beast, she could not bear to leave them. She decided to stay one more day. Here you can see the Beast playing with all of his wonderful woodland creatures that he takes care of. And I think Beauty is starting to fall for him. As Beauty slept that night, she dreamed that the Beast was lying helpless in his garden. He seemed to be dying. She was so frightened by that the next morning she used the ring to return to the palace. But all was strangely quiet. She called out but heard no answer. She rushed to the garden and found the Beast lying just as she had seen him in her dream. "Oh, Beast, don't die," she cried. "You are so kind and I do love you. You are ugly, but your goodness is easy to see." In this photo, we can see Beauty, and she's crying over the Beast. With Beauty's words, the Beast changed into a handsome prince. "An old fairy turned me into a beast to teach me a lesson," the prince said. "I was often cruel to animals that I thought ugly. The spell would be broken only when someone grew to love me in spite of the way I looked." The prince and Beauty were married at once. Her father, her sisters, and all the people who belonged to the prince's court came to celebrate the wedding. No longer a beast in either body or spirit, the prince loved Beauty with all his heart and provided for her and her family for the rest of their days. And with that, as all fairy tales should end, they lived happily ever after. Thank you everybody for taking the time to listen. This is one of my absolute favorite fairy tales, and I couldn't have been more excited to read it to all of you. We miss you here at the WRP community. Please stay safe. Goodbye.